Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa, and thank you for tuning in to the podcast with the best domain name and digital asset content in the world. Today's episode is a Domain Sherpa review titled Minivans and Tank Engines, and it features Josh and Drew. On today's show, we played the domain game featuring a bunch of names, including infrared.com, cutu.com, veya.com, busk.com, and sonata.com. We also talk about the recent sales of transformational.com and 469.com. And then we got the NameJetGonnaJet segment sponsored by NameJet. And we talk about some domains coming up for auction, such as energystore.com, homeinsulation.com, and barkeep.com. Then we also talk about some domains that are currently listed on NameJet by a member of our audience, and we see what the Sherpas think about those. Those domains include bananasplit.com, juanita.com, strongbody.com, and funshop.com. And then we get into a discussion about an idea of Neoregistrars, which was something that Michael Seiger recently posted about on social media, which is a super interesting topic. So we dig into how those new hybrid entities could impact domaining and the value and utility of domain names into the future. All that and more is coming up now on this episode of Domain Sherpa. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at domainsherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. You can also listen to the shows on Apple and Spotify and other podcast platforms as well. So make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button everywhere that you can, and please help Domain Sherpa grow the pie. Also, we now integrate our shows with Muse.ai, which provides search functionality for the shows and transcripts as well. So definitely check all that out. And props to our sponsor, Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains with a special platform made for domain investors. And another shout out to our own business, MediaOptions, the #1 domain brokerage in the world, specializing in domain acquisition, sales, and appraisals. Find out more at MediaOptions.com, where you can also sign up for our newsletter for the best domain names and domain opportunities available in the market every week, and also featuring key insights and other helpful information relating to branding, naming, and domain investing. All right, with all that, it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jay On, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, John Burgundy, the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Stay classy, Domain Sherpa. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, getting into the minds of some of the best domain investors in the world, using real examples to learn strategies and tactics so that y'all can become more successful domain name investors yourselves. These are the experts. These are the OGs, the best in the biz, my personal friends. So I'm very, very happy to be here doing what we do. And there's 4 segments to the Domain Sherpa review, kind of, sort of. We're going to mix it up a little bit today, do the grand opening intro of the Sherpas, a few AKAs. We will do a little version of the domain game where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought and sold, guessing what they bought or sold it for, keeping some score, swag, maybe, all that kind of stuff. I still owe Josh some swag. Actually, when you came through the other day, man, I should have gave you, did I give you a sweatshirt? I don't think I have.
Oh, still waiting.
No, then you still got to earn it. Still got to earn it. Then I was going to say last but not least, but it's not that. NameJetGonnaJet, we're going to review a list of names coming up for auction on NameJet. Today actually is a cool little wrinkle. So we're not only going to review a list of expiring names, we've also got an audience member who gave us some names to mention on the show. So we'll do that, not just as a way to promote. And for what it's worth, we're actually not making any kind of we have no financial incentive. We're doing it because that's what we do. We're here, rising tide, lifting all boats, in Domain Sherpa for the people. That's what we do, even though Drew's like, though, do we have to?
Against my better judgment.
Hey, man, this is what we do for our audience. You know what I'm saying? We got mad love for y'all. You know what it is. And then last but not least, we got GrandClosing, where we'll discuss anything we haven't covered already, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market trends, current events, and allowing our guests, in this case, co-hosts, to mention or promote anything they want to talk about that we have not already talked about. All right, let's go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. Over to my right, I got my boy Josh Reason, a.k.a. Bjorn Borg, a.k.a. Harry Kane, a.k.a. Prince Harry, a.k.a. Prince Harry Kane, a.k.a. Slim Shady, a.k.a. King Pickle. I don't even know. Super Pickle. Like, what are we saying? What's up, man? How you doing? Just had a baby. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. He's just turned 1 month.
Brand new.
What's the name?
Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah. You gotta say
Tommy.
like Josh said, the Tommy.
Tommy.
It makes it cool.
Good, proper
Yeah.
British name.
Yeah. His name's Thomas, but we call him Tommy.
Tommy.
Thomas the Train. And you know,
What's the
these guys.
tank engine?
Yeah. He's more of a tank like the tank. Oh, Thomas the Tank Engine. That's right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right.
Tommy the Tank. Tommy the Tank.
Well, have you guys ever seen the movie Bullet Train? Have you seen Bullet Train?
No.
Oh, and I know Drew doesn't really watch movies, but it stars Brad Pitt. And
I watch movies.
did you see Bullet Train?
No.
No, because I don't watch movies. It's all good, dude. It's cool. It's fine. Yeah, cool. You watch movies, but it's so good. It literally is one of the best movies I've seen in a minute. And there's a character who's pretty hype on Thomas the Tank Engine, and there's like a bunch of those kind of comments about, well, you mean Thomas the Train? It's actually Thomas the Tank Engine. And anyway,
Yeah.
so big shout out to Bullet Train. That shit is legit. If you haven't
Is
seen it.
that like a Mandela effect thing?
Where, yeah, you say you've seen it? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that with Thomas the Train. Yes, because that is exactly like a Mandela effect thing. You're like, well, of course it's Thomas the Train. And it's like, no, it's Thomas the Tank
Yeah,
Engine.
it is Thomas the Train. No, it's Thomas the Train, dog.
No, it's Thomas the Tank Engine.
That's the whole point. That's what I'm
I don't
saying. You just got
believe
Mandela effect. Hey.
Yo,
You know
you're trying to, you're insulting my sense of reality.
Hey, look, man, I know you deep in the lagoon right now, just chilling. I'm not trying to upset your feng shui. Although I did tell Josh, I was like, Drew's perspective in his life is like, sort of his view on things is shifting a little bit now that you're over there, because it's like the Buddhists are impacting you, I think, in a positive way. I said,
He said
now
you're
I
a violent Buddha, dude.
yeah, violent Buddhist is what I said. Your philosophy is leaning violent Buddhist. And
Violent Buddhist. Is that I might that might be a new sect.
I think it is, man. I think it is. And hey, man, if that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. I'm in. But yeah, all good. So let's keep it moving here. Down below me, we got my boy.
Comment on that.
Yeah, well, just noodle on it a little bit. I think we can work on. We can build on that. Got my boy Andrew Rosner, aka the Violent Buddhist, aka Morpheus, aka the Dirk Diggler of digital assets, aka Bobbly Swagger the Sniper, aka Drew. Drew got what I need, aka Never Gonna Give Drew Up. Graybeard, the Domain Pirate, in the building, in the lagoon, over in the Far East, just living his best life. What's up, man? What's happening?
That's it. Just coming out the swamp to record a little Domain Sherpa for everybody.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
And it's funny because it's like we keep it a little bit
Going to
tight.
Vietnam tomorrow.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Well, and the timing just makes it kind of funky because it's early morning for you, it's late night for us. But
yeah,
but all good, And so like I said, so today we got a couple of things to talk about, and we can talk about anything y'all want to talk about, but we got some of these auction names. But in the meantime, we haven't done the domain game in a minute, and I think even with the two of y'all giving us a name or two, let's we can do that if you've got something to talk about. And as everybody knows, on the domain game, the Sherpas talk about a name that they recently bought or sold. The rest of us are going to guess what we think they bought or sold it for. Whoever's closer is going to get the point, and somebody's going to get the win. And so, Josh, you want to go first?
Sure. So, January, from a sales perspective, not great. Nothing exciting. Couple of pea shooters, but we got some good sales in the works, but nothing to shout home about. So I'll do a buy, which is fairly recent, and I don't think I talked about. Infrared.com.
Oh,
okay. Damn, son.
Wait, you bought infrared.com?
Yeah. I also bought an infrared sauna to go along with it.
That's a boss
man.
move right there. That is like,
by my own heart.
That is a boss.
All
I
right.
just want to put it together. It's not so easy.
Come on. It's just easy. I did mine by myself.
All right.
Took me about 90 minutes, 2 hours. Did you go Clearlight?
I can't remember the brand. It's downstairs in my garage.
Clearlight is the joint. That's who you want.
Well, and have you been using it?
Is it the guys that own infraredsauna.com?
I can't remember what the brand is. I can check it here on. I bought it off Amazon.
Okay.
Had great reviews. Had great reviews.
Oh, you didn't buy the name from Amazon.
All right.
You bought the infrared sauna from Amazon.
Yeah,
Is it like
yeah.
it's like a box?
Yeah,
like
it's in a massive box.
That's what we got to figure out how to sell domains on Amazon. That'd be dope.
That's what I'm like.
You know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
One click, the one click purchase.
All right, so let's put in what we think you bought it for. All right, Drew, you got a phone?
Yeah.
All right. Should we put what we think the combined total of what we think you paid for the name and the sauna? You know what I'm saying?
Well, if it's infrared only, probably marginal, $4 or $5 grand.
Yeah, the sauna was only like $5 grand.
All right, well, that's what I was gonna say 5 to 10. All right, here we go. Ready? Flip. What you got? Oh,
That's so funny. It doesn't.
Oh, that's crazy. All right. For those of you who are listening and not watching, Drew's at $39,895 and I'm at $40,000. So this is really an over under. You know what I'm saying? It's really like,
Yeah, we have $5 apart.
If it's under, it's Drew. If it's over, it's me. And all right. So what's up, Josh? Well, who gets the point?
Drew does.
Oh,
boom.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. What was
35?
Yeah, I thought about 35. That's like still I like that price for that name a lot, especially considering how popular all the sauna and the infrared stuff. Plus, it's such a cool brand.
I'll take that shit for 40.
No, bro. You gotta start taking the other stuff from me first, and then we'll talk about the good.
You trying to break me off that baking soda. You know what I'm saying? Give me the good shit. Give me that puro. Give me that puro.
Yeah, that's what part of Josh was like. He's like, man, I don't know if I can do the show. It's late. He's like, but I have been trying to get Drew to buy some names. So if this is how I can get in front of him to do it, then let's go. So
let's go. Come on. Infrared. How much? Let's go.
No, that was in the vault. That was in the vault, bro.
Nah, get out of here with your vault. Get out of here with your vault. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fantastic.
When you start locking things in the vault, you know what happens?
You go broke.
Cash flow goes to zero. That's it.
Yeah, that's
it.
You gotta sell.
Don't fall in love.
You gotta sell some of the shit.
Domain names are for buying and selling.
That's right.
You don't marry them. You don't marry them.
True. That's so.
You ask Drew. Ask Drew how he feels about like DX.com. You know what I mean? And
dude, I love that for me.
Listen, I'll sell that thing to the first guy with real money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. It could be the prettiest girl at the ball. She's still for sale.
Violent Buddhist.
Wait, how much is that? How much is that name like retail? DX.
What? DX?
Yeah.
It's not worth talking about if you can't afford it.
No, but I'm just like educationally. You sell that for less than 2.5 million or no?
2.5. I wouldn't even start the conversation.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but
that's a great question.
I already sold that name a decade ago for more than 2.5. Really? Or no, I didn't. No.
But you sold it for a good number.
It was less. Yeah. But DX, for me to move DX again, like I don't take a bite at the apple twice often, but this is the sweetest apple.
Is it not the perfect crypto exchange name? It's the perfect one, right?
It's the perfect name in so many ways for so many things. I'll tell you what, I have this funny when it comes to like the really, 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 really good stuff, we're talking about the best of breed type of domains, okay? The absolute just banger one words, the names that you go, yes, that could be an 8-figure name, okay? Like a clear.com, like a 2-letter.com, like just real, the cream, okay? When you're talking about the cream, you don't really get to know a name until you already sold it. When you already sold it and you get the you get the regret, when you get the people reaching out that previously inquired on a domain, and now you got to tell them you sold it, and then they say no, but I'll double the offer, and they start getting irrational. When you understand what the true demand around a name looks like, when you start reflecting on how the negotiation went for the name, whoever you just sold it to, it's not until you actually sold that name that you truly get to know what the cream was worth, because then you understand who was that buyer, what was their motivation, who are the other buyers that were out there. Oh my God, I didn't think about this use case. Then you actually understand what a name's worth. When I sold DX.com, I immediately understood that I had messed up and that there were like a tremendous number of other use cases, other end users, even though I had sold it to a massive company. The fact that I got to get a second bite of this apple, I'm telling you right now, it's going to take a very serious number for me to move that name again.
Like 10 milli? You letting it go for 10 milli?
10 is like probably the minimum number that we start talking.
Damn.
Let's get it. So yeah, man. All
you
good
guys
stuff.
over at MediaOptions, just
Let's go. I'll be in the same kind of picture as Drew with that lush background behind me. You know what I'm saying?
You need to,
there's only
pink coats, man. Get those pink coats on.
Yeah, the pimp coats as opposed to being in a sweatshop.
There's only 26 two-letter.coms that end with X, right? And they're not all created equal. You got things like JX and ZX, YX, which, are good, but not as abundant end user or use cases, et cetera. I think DX.com, it's one of like probably 3 to 5 best. And we got 2. We got IX, DX.
IX and DX.
All good stuff. Well, so hey, let's keep it moving with another name.
Yeah.
What you got? Yep. What you got, Drew?
But I'll tell you what, that's pretty, I would say we clearly drew the line on infrared, right? The line is 40. So you got it for the under. That's a good buy.
100%. Yeah.
I'm happy with it. I like that name.
Yeah. 55.
No, bro, I'm not selling it. Not selling it.
I like it, man. It's gonna keep working out.
60.
Nah, man. Nah. Cash flow is tight, but it's not tight enough.
So you want to sell me this other garbage, but you don't want to sell me the cream? Let's go.
I don't think the other stuff is garbage, actually. I think that
here's the deal.
I think that one of
here's the trouble. Here's the trouble with infrared. Trouble with infrared. Banger, absolute banger name. The problem is that the market is already established and the market leaders already have really good names. InfraredSauna.com, saunas.com. You got the players in the ice bath market who, are highly branded, but they sell saunas now. But it's a great name. I'm not even going to play.
Is he trying to move you off it a little bit? I mean, is this the negotiation? Is this happening right now? Is this part of it? You're like that baby is not cute. Not cute. Let me take it off your hands. I got you, dog. I got you. Like you are.
I love doing it.
So what's the price? What's the price?
We can talk about it off air if you like.
Ooh, okay. I'm liking it though.
But that's just me like saying that I'm gonna shut you down.
Listen to him. He's trying to get me to put a price on DX publicly, but he won't put a price on infrared.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about retail, bro. I was talking about
bobbing and weaving out here.
Come on, set a good example for Tommy the Train. All right, don't.
Tommy,
you know what I mean?
I mean,
Thomas the tank engine.
If someone turned around and said like I'll give you $100K for it right now, and it was a domain investor, I might take it. But that's it, and I know that nobody's gonna do that. So
I mean, hey, we'll see.
Never say never. Never say never. Never is a very big word.
Never is a very big word. There's a lot of meaning behind it.
Just in case. Yeah. Just in case some infrared sauna guy is watching me right now, that price is not for you, sir. Not for you.
No, it's not. That's a category-defining domain.
here's the deal, right? Just to let the audience think about how I would think about this. Infrared, that term alone has 43,000 exact match searches in the United States, 106,000 exact match global. Okay. So you got a cost per click under $1. It's basically, there's no advertising. It's 30 cents. So, infrared alone in a vacuum actually is 100 grand is actually about full retail. But there are certain names where you have to extrapolate out on the long tail. And, insurance.com, for example, would be one of them. Okay. Very few people search. Well, it's actually still, because it's such a big category, there's still a lot of, relatively speaking, there's still a lot of search for the word insurance, but more valuable and more volume is home insurance, car insurance, auto insurance, life insurance. And so, in the case of an insurance.com, the opportunity is actually the long tail, right? And so same can be said here with infrared. Infrared sauna, 76,000 exact match US, 130,000 global, $1.40 CPC. So you're talking about, 250 retail,
Yeah.
about
then
right.
let me just
Two and
add
a
as well.
quarter, 250, and that's objective. If you have a motivated buyer, it could go 350, but that's the value.
Yeah, well,
So,
I think I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna say one thing on that. Hold on, is you're strictly looking at search volume from like a exact match standpoint as well, and that's only one reason to buy a name like that. There are plenty of brands not related to anything infrared that you just use infrared as a brand, and that's more of the reason why I bought it. To be honest.
I was just going to say, I feel like your baseline is infrared saunas and everything kind of around that, right? As far as like, you have a market there where somebody has that has value for established companies that are in a space that's pretty hot right now, pun intended. But it's the fact that it could be a killer crypto brand, security, anything
exactly.
tech. I mean, there's so much cool shit that name could be utilized for. It's like, in some ways, it's such a great name because, again, it has a foundation that's like, you could always go to the infrared sauna folks and get back what you paid for it. Like that.
All right, 75.
All right.
You said 100.
So Drew, then tell us about what you bought or sold today.
This is where this deal gets.
You're going to say no to 75. You're going to say no to 75. That's more than double.
Yeah, I got to say no to 75.
Oh, what is Tommy the Tank going to say? What is Tommy the Tank?
It's Tommy the Tank.
Your first year of college could have been paid for.
I know. Well, Tommy the Tank, I mean, he knows that Daddy's going to pay for his college anyway, so it's all good.
That's true.
Tommy, Daddy's rolling your college education on his pickleball skills.
On his domaining skills. On his poor domaining skills.
I like it, man. I think, hey,
all right,
man. Well, it's good stuff. All right, Drew, you got a name?
Let's go. I'm going to do this. I'm going to mix it up a little something because I paid basically the same price for all three of these. So we're going to treat it as a package. Okay. We got 3 little 4-letter brandable domain names. Okay. And we're going to say cumulative price. Basically, it basically is equally distributed because I paid exactly the same price, basically within a couple $100 for each of these 3 names. Kutu.com, CUTU.
Yeah, I don't know.
Veya, VEYA, Veya. And Busk, BUSK. Busks, like people that play music in the street or sell shit in the street. You're busking.
So it's the combined total for these 3 names?
Combined total.
You're bussing, but you're not. You're busking.
Busk, BUSK, yeah. All right. Were these on NameJet? Were these NameJet names?
Busker. No, these are not NameJet. These are private acquisitions.
Okay.
Total price. Okay.
Total price for the 3. Three nice 4-letter brands. VEYA, CUTU. All of them have meanings too. And BUSK. BUSK is actually a 4-letter English word. I mean, that's
All right, stop pumping your bags, man.
I know. I'm already like, I don't know
I
if that
just-
means I should
I
put
just
the price
added-
up or down.
I
you know
just,
what
I
I'm saying?
just, I just added 1,000.
All right, ready? Flip it.
Oh God.
Oh wow. Okay, we're talking.
what? You are
talking-
tripping. This dude's tripping.
We're talking
This
combined,
dude is
right?
tripping.
You're not
This
talking about
dude is
that.
tripping.
You're not talking about the average. All right. So Josh is
All
basically
right,
at 7,000.
JT1.
I'm at 24,000.
That was an easy win. Josh just gave it to you.
I know. Well,
Josh, you need a time machine to pay $7,000 for those 3 names.
Dude,
Well,
how
I
much is
thought-
how much are CVCVs going for now? Like $3,000
A good
each?
CVCV? Yeah, for JYCU.com. Yeah. GQ. Yeah, that you could get that for $2,000.
Yeah.
So what's the total? Because
that's
I
fair.
7K each. I thought, I was in between 21 and 24.
$7,000 each is 21,000.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
$7,000 each.
All right, Josh thinks you overpaid. You know, so
I mean, I think, yeah, I feel like they were like $3,000 each for me.
so I won one, Drew won one, right? So technically, then Josh, you need to push the next name out so that we could do the tiebreaker.
Okay,
That's okay if you got another one. But
Yeah.
but you think he was pretty short on that, or he was too long on those, huh?
I don't know, man. Like those are the type of names that I would have to like look up some stats on, honestly, because like a name like Via, like it could have some usage, it could have no usage, and it's just
Look how many end users there are.
well, that's my point. Like if you're talking about CVCVs,
I guarantee you that on those 3 names, I'm doing another 10 to 20 bagger.
yeah,
Let's get it. Let's go.
Because listen, let's just say one of them. Okay, let's say VEYA. I would say is probably the best of the 3, actually.
yeah, I agree.
And
That
that name is going to go for at least 100, 125, 150. Okay,
I mean,
if I sell that one for 150, the whole thing is a 20 bagger.
no, so I agree with you. 7K was too low. I would say like Via by itself was probably worth close to that.
More than that, you know. Listen, these are my favorite types of domains. I'm every single day of my life for 15 years, I've tried to buy these types of names. Really pronounceable 4-letter.coms for me are the holy grail. They're the most liquid, the easy. They are the thing that sells the most. Like there will always be. Doesn't mean I'm going to sell it for, I'm going to right out of the gate sell for 100 or 150 or whatever. But I will, over the next 12 months, I'll have 4 people at least that will approach us and offer us 25 to 50 grand for Bea. Guaranteed.
That's pretty bullish, though.
You can't get them. There's tons of names. You can buy lots of CVCVs. Okay, they're always available.
Yeah,
there's always somebody who's been hanging on to 10 or 20 of them and is ready or desperate and needs liquidity. But it's very rare and very difficult to find ones that are truly pronounceable, truly easy to spell, especially that have repeating vowels. I find it difficult to find them, and I'm always ready to buy them. And under 10 grand, with varying degree, it's a no-brainer.
Okay. So keep that in mind. If anybody's sitting on some 4character.coms that fit the bill, you know what I'm saying? Holler.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, cool. All right. So Josh, you got another name for us, and then we can slide into some NameJet action.
Okay. In the spirit of the conversation, I'll do another good name that I bought recently.
Oh, okay.
Sonata.com. Sonata.
Ooh, Sonata.
SONATA.com.
Yeah, like music.
Yeah.
The Hyundai Sonata?
Yeah, also, yeah.
Yeah.
Except isn't that SANATA?
No, it's the same spelling.
Oh, same spelling.
Okay.
Oh
man. You just devalue your name by associating it with a Hyundai.
Yeah, right.
Hyundais are making nice
JT,
cars.
what are you doing?
nowadays,
What are you
man.
doing, man?
It is actually shocking how nice the Hyundais are now. Hyundais are like a legit, like they're literally like, they're not assembled as well, but like the interiors are like a Mercedes.
Dude, they're like the Genesis and some of the other models they have are
We've
legit.
sold
very
our
nice
Volvo. We sold our Volvo and just bought a Hyundai Palisade, and it's so nice inside.
Beautiful car. That's what I'm saying. I actually think the way that Hyundais and Kias even and some of those brands that used to be the really inexpensive car brands have now come up and, have created and, over time have improved the quality of their stuff, that their cars are beautiful now, man. They're great. And,
I'll tell you what,
it's not a Bugatti.
my new tip of being over here, dude, they have some cars we don't have. They've got these like vans that are like, I don't understand how nobody has like set this up in Vegas yet. Like these vans are the joint. Like,
okay,
it's basically like the most pimped out lowrider minivan you ever saw. But they like this. Everybody's got it. Everybody like, and these things are like, you're talking pimped out captain's chairs, swivel seats, just all leather everywhere, wood floor grain. Like,
oh, dude,
these things are so nice. I'm talking so nice.
Yeah, minivans are underrated. So, we had a minivan for a while, and we had the Honda Odyssey. The Honda Odyssey.
There goes half our audience.
What? Why? What's wrong with that, man? And so, because we're getting off on a tangent. So I'm like, wow, what's wrong with the
minivans,
bro? But all I'm saying is this shit had a box that was like.
I can hear the unsubscribe buttons on YouTube right now.
Hey, we can always have Billy cut it. Billy, cut this. But look, I got to get this point across. They had the cool box that the shit kept shit cool. It was a little cooler. It was easy to get in and out. Everything was auto. That. I mean, dude, my wife finally was like, "Well, I'm not driving a minivan anymore." And I'm like, "But it's literally the best car, And she's like, "Well, you can drive it. You can have a minivan." Well, I'm not gonna have a minivan. But had I pimped it out like the way that they do it there, I may have been down to do it. It was also like that movie Get Shorty with Danny DeVito. I think it was Get Shorty. And John Travolta is in town. He's the mob guy, and he's driving a mini. He's like, it's the Cadillac of minivans. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys got the Cadillac of minivans. I like it. All right. So I'm sorry, Sonata, real quick. Let's continue. Let's stay on message and see what's good.
Yeah.
All right. You know when you're ready.
Hold on. Let me think.
Don't go super low, man, just because I went low on your 3-4 letters. Like, don't be like that, Drew. Don't be like.
All right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, flip. Can't see it. What you got? Ooh, okay.
I knew it, dude.
Drew went 12,895.
Drew's
I went 25,000.
He's like, bro, my 3-4 letters are so good, bro.
All right, so I had 25,000. So what's the deal?
I'm still gonna win.
I paid
Drew wins
42.
42. JT wins. Billy, give me some hype. Let's go. Give me some kind of like, let's go. Come on, let's go, Billy. Bring it in, Billy. We're not done yet. Let's go, Billy. Come on, Billy. Fire it up.
But
all right, let's talk about it.
It's a good name, no doubt. It's a good name.
It's a great name. And so I actually was going to go a little.
Another one that I'm pretty happy with.
I was going to go a little bit higher. I was going to go probably kind of 30, 32. 42 seems a little bit high, but that's without doing any like looking into any end users or any of that kind of stuff. You know what it is?
It's got good usage. It's not easy to buy names like good quality.
You know what it is? You got such a great deal on infrared that I was like, infrared, in my opinion, is a better name. Well, so what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, no question.
Yeah,
you got infrared. So I felt like, all right, well, if you paid 35 for infrared, Sonata's more like 30, 25, 30 was kind of where I was at with that, but still fantastic name. I mean, it's a great name that you're going to sell for that.
So like what you pay for a name does not necessarily signify like what you think. Think it's better or worse than another name. You know what I mean? I personally
get it.
No,
me comparing it is that
was
a
me opportunity. It's just opportunistic.
Exactly,
because the buyers, I mean, some, obviously you're going to get great deals. We got a domain for a client this week.
So, interestingly, Sonata actually has way better numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Than infrared does.
It does. And obviously, it has really good traffic, but yeah.
I dig it, man. Yeah. Well, that's why I was qualifying
There's a lot of brands. There's a lot of brands out there, which is why I paid what I paid.
Yeah, well, and that's why I qualify what I said without having done any of the research on that stuff, right? And without even looking at the stats. And but I was saying, like, we got a name for a client this week that was just a straight up steal, you know. And
oh my god, it
Really?
literally.
They came to you and they said,
man.
"We want this name," and then the person who's selling it was like, "Yeah,
we went. Yes, we went and got it for the client. They asked us to buy a specific name. We went and got it for the client. Listen, I haven't bought a name for well, to be fair, this was Chris did the work, not me. I had nothing to do with it. But we haven't acquired a name for ourselves or a client at this much of a discount
Oh my
in a
god!
decade.
Wow.
In a decade. We bought this name for about a penny on the dollar.
What?
you know,
Like a
and
oneword.com?
Maybe 2 pennies on the dollar. A oneword.com. And not just like a random, but like a really good oneword.com that is a exact match that represents like 3 different major industries that are 2 of the 3 are like actually in growth mode and hot.
Yeah.
This is a absolute
it's a banger.
like yeah. It's a
Did you
banger.
did you like
it's just
explain
like
it? Did you explain this to your client? Like what
Dude,
what they don't realize,
I don't
right?
think that they fully grasp
Yeah.
I don't think they fully grasp like how lucky they are. I don't think they fully grasp it or how grateful they should be. But
But hey, it's
you know,
what we do.
they're certainly happy. They're certainly happy.
Yeah,
They're
no,
certainly
it is.
happy.
Not
It's
good for those escrow.com numbers though.
We got some.
No,
we got some stuff
no, it
for that
doesn't
though.
help.
We got some stuff for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But
So,
yeah, wow. I mean, this was just an absolute rip.
Wow.
Like
truth is, we help them. If we end up
Absolute
helping them
rip.
sell it, we'll make the money on that side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like,
yeah,
it is a big win, and hey, always happy to be able to help like that. You know, and it is a client that we do
Totally.
some stuff for. So you know, it's a big win, and big shout out to Chris because yeah, he did the legwork, got a great result, and
we got it for such a low price that we had, our minimum commission kicked in.
Oh wow.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like we literally bought this thing so cheap that we had to charge him the mini.
yeah, exactly right. So which is all, hey, all good. It was a win, definitely a win. All right, well, that's what's up. I won, so I feel really great about that. So I have a name though, real quick. I'm going to throw one more out there just for you guys, since let you two go head to head as long as you were not following this one. Were you guys watching transformational.com today, by the way?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I was a second high bidder on that.
Oh, well. Then
I
you know
backed
what?
down at the last minute. It's a little long.
Transformational. Josh, were you following it? Then you can guess, since
I saw it yesterday and was like, yeah, should I bid on this? And then I was like, nah. But I guess like I feel like it probably ended up going for like 11, something like that.
Oh, dude, it ended up going for $25,056.
Really?
Yeah, 25 G's.
I think I saw it and it was at like 6.
You know what else sold? You know what else sold really cheap yesterday? Was 469.com. 469.com sold for 30 grand, 33 maybe.
I saw that. Yeah,
and that's very cheap. That's very cheap. I mean, I know 4s are not good in China, but 469 is a very easy to remember. It's it's an order of progression. It's a very nice. That's a very nice domain.
Weren't the floor on 3number.coms like 200 grand at one point?
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
yeah. Well, it's funny, when I saw it, I thought the same
with
thing.
a 4 or a 0, it was more like 100, somewhere around 80, 100. But still, 30 grand. Look, irregardless of the Chinese market, a 3number.com is a very memorable domain, right? You can use it for a lot of different things, whether it's even if you just use it for your wallet address. You know what I mean? Like 469 is a very cool name. It's easy to remember. It's probably an area code. That was a no-brainer to me, But anyways, I missed it. I probably should have bought transformational. It's just a little bit long. It's a little bit too preachy. Transformation.com is a better domain. Transform.com is a better domain.
course, yeah.
And so transformational, it's felt a little bit heavy to me, but it's still cheap. 25 is still cheap for that name.
You think so? You think that's cheap? I don't know.
But when I say cheap, right? Let's say you're coming into this market, you're looking for low risk. Okay. Transformational.com doesn't have a 10 upside, right? That it's got you're gonna double, triple your money. If you got really lucky, you make 4x. Okay. It's a 50 to 100 grand name. That's what it is. And it might be 50 to 100 on a payment plan, right? But just because you're not going to, the end users aren't going to be huge end users. But it is a transformational brand for the right mid-sized company. And, on a payment plan or something, you probably get 100 out of it or over, the next 3 years. So I think your downside is very low. You have an extremely limited downside, but you have a limited upside. But, that's a low risk, high probability of return, right?
When you say high probability,
get a huge return.
Like what?
Meaning there are
50% chance in 5 years.
Yeah, I think at least probably higher than that, right? I don't think you're not going to lose money, right? If you had to fire sell it, you're going to get 20 out of it, right? Your downside is 20%, and your upside is 100 to 200%.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. That's one thing that I find interesting in when you think about investing in domain names is, the more you pay for a name, the higher likelihood it's going to sell at retail, and then the lower the downside is if you need to get your money out, right? And it's always interesting to think about, what the sell-through rate is on any given name.
That's true within reason. There's certain categories, change the dynamics. Are you in a category that's sort of hot now? Or are you in sort of an old industry? Like, momentum is very important. And so if you got a name that makes a good brand in a certain market that is sort of up and coming, there's a lot of business creation happening, your sell-through rate's going to be higher, your timeline's going to be shorter, your downside is going to be less. There's just going to be more momentum. And whereas if it's something like, I don't know, oil and gas is like one of the biggest industries on earth, right? However, it's an old industry. There's not a lot of new business creation happening. And so, yes, billions of dollars. All the companies in it are big. They've all got capital. But, it's slow momentum, right? It's a plateaued space for the most part. And so it's like trying to sell into that industry is going to be harder. You're going to have a longer timeline. You need to get a little bit luckier, et cetera, et cetera. So, I agree with you mostly that paying up generally indicates that there's more demand, and which generally indicates you're going to have a lower downside, and generally indicates, a higher probability of a retail sale. But there are exceptions, and it really depends on the industry. It really depends on sort of the segment that you're targeting.
Which is why you want the most open vessel brand possible, because then it applies to any industry.
Sure. Yeah.
Totally.
Right. Great points all around. All right, good stuff. Well, that's the domain
which name do you think you're going to sell first? Do you think you're going to sell Sonata or Infrared first?
I think they're both. So I think they're both very open vessel, but
No, come on, very different names.
I think he's going to sell Infrared in the next 24 hours to you, Drew. That's what's going to happen.
So,
he's going to sell
I think that's where yeah. So obviously Sonata is completely open vessel, but I still think that Infrared is completely open vessel.
Yeah, Infrared.
Less so.
I don't know, which one can I sell first? No idea. I think they both have pretty high sell-through rates over a 5-year period.
Sure.
Yeah.
It also depends on what you're trying to get for it, but trying to get max value, I think both of those are fantastic names. So good stuff, and congratulations again to me for winning the domain game. And Billy,
congrats, dude. You're so talented.
I want to thank everybody for supporting, for being there and supporting me, and everybody, my journey. Can't do it without y'all.
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
All right, well, let's slide into NameJetGonnaJet. So we got a list of domains coming up for auction. We're going to talk about what the Sherpas like, what they don't like. 15 names. We can grab the list from our site, from the DomainSherpa page, in order to download the Excel sheet. We've got the asked about appraisal. Take it with a grain of salt. How many back orders as of the time we record the show? When the back order end date is. These are all private auctions, all expiring auctions with no reserve. Keep in mind that, although it used to be the case that you had to have a back order in to participate in an auction, now you can jump in. Harder to find the names, though. So I still think there is a benefit to see a name that you like, get the back order in. None of this is financial advice. We don't have any kind of an affiliate deal or anything here. So, ultimately, we're just trying to provide some insight. Hopefully it helps. So what do you guys?
I'm about to beat you with a bamboo cane, dog.
Well, if there's a name that you don't want to include and talk about, if that's what that's about.
No, I just got an email that one of our names sold on Afternic in a buy it now.
Too cheap.
At about 10 cents on the dollar.
No, send me or do you want to talk about what it is, do you?
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh man, I'm about to get caned. I told you, violent Buddha, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, 2 weeks ago, you were like, "Oh, yo, we got to go audit our buy it now prices."
I know, but look, you're in the Blue Lagoon. I'm like, hey, when do you want to do this?
What happened what happened since then? Because we just lost a name for about 5 cents on the dollar.
Oh yeah. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I see it in the email.
I like. Can we cut this part out and can you tell me? I can't.
Yeah, that's cool. You want to see what Josh thinks? Yeah. All right. Let's do that.
Tell you after.
Hey, at least we got a sale. But yeah.
Oh yeah, like that moves the needle.
Hey, look. We got everything priced. We have to go through the process. They're selling in the meantime because they're priced pretty well. They're priced to sell. We're like, everything must go.
Hey, they sure are.
Drew bounced to Thailand and we threw everything up on the block. Like, let's get it.
Was it set at a price that someone like an investor might go and just buy?
100%. I would buy this for this price. I would buy it. If it was on NameJet, I would have bought this name for this price.
Look, we have thousands of names.
It's literally one of the most important industries over the coming decade, 2 decades. In material science.
I hear you, dog.
It's literally, this was 5 cents on the dollar. That's what it sold. Anyways, okay, let's move on.
You think 5? Well, you know what? Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
yes, 5 cents on the dollar. Do a quick Google search.
No, I know it is. No, I mean, I'm aware. So here's the thing: we've got thousands of names in the portfolio. They're all priced. It's not priced extremely efficiently. You know what I'm saying? There are some buying opportunities. So for those of you who are out there in the universe, get your search on. You know what I'm saying? Until we,
searching after.
Oh yeah. Thanks, JT.
You link me to your
I'm glad you're representing your fiduciary responsibility. You're like, yo, come and get your grift on while Drew's out of the country and I underpriced all their names.
For what it's worth, man, we went through the list together, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we didn't do this as a team. It's just a big list with a lot of names. It's hard to literally go through each one, with a fine tooth comb if you're trying to sell names. Hey, we got to sell names.
You play pin the tail of the donkey with the
got to sell names. There was a formula. Look, the Rosner equation with available data, you know what I'm saying, helped drive a lot of what it was. Acquisition price plays a role. You know what I'm saying? So there are certain things. And
which you shouldn't.
Well, I mean, arguably, yes, you're right. But you got to come up with a process.
What I paid has no bearing on what it's worth.
Oh, that's an interesting question. What do you think about that, Josh? Do you agree?
Yeah, it's true. But it's true, but it's certainly something that can be considered when you're selling a name, but it has no bearing on what the name is worth.
Right. And that's a fair point. So, but
I don't think it has any bearing at all. I mean, even if I was looking for desperately for liquidity, what I paid is irrelevant. It's what's the market going to pay me?
Yeah.
What's it?
It is relevant, but for the other reason. And I was thinking about this recently and talking to someone about it. I would prefer to sell the name at fair market value at a loss than sell it for a profit. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, and I agree. I think that all makes sense. Again, thousands of names, if one or two falls through the cracks, it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? Billy, maybe we should cut this, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is pretty rough for me out here. I did just win the domain game though, so at least I have some skill at valuing domains.
Can we change this to DomainSherpa uncensored and never cut anything?
Yeah.
We've actually done a pretty good job, I feel like, of not cutting a lot of stuff recently. I mean, we had to cut some stuff, I mean, sometimes it gets a little crazy up in here. And we still got the B-roll for what it's worth. So someday maybe people will get the full-on insight into, what really happens here in Violent Buddhist Studios, and but let's talk about this NameJet list. You know what I'm saying? Let's change the subject. Let's move on to the next segment of the show. At least it's domain content, so that's the way I look at it. At least we're giving everybody.
Hey, listen, I think we're giving everybody an MBA.
We're giving everybody what they paid for. All right. All right. Whoever wants to dive in, we got 15 names on the list. I will say that last week's list was easier. There were better names that kind of popped right off the page. I had to do some more digging here. Curious to see if you guys like any of this stuff specifically. And there's actually there are two names on here that are very, very similar, obviously, that I want to talk about the difference between the two to see which one you guys think is better and or worse or whatever. So who wants to talk about some names?
Go ahead, Drew.
All right. Those aren't the names yet. Okay, hold up.
Right, we have some audience names to talk about after, but I figure we'll do NameJetGonnaJet, then we'll talk about a handful of the audience names, and then we can slide into GrandClosing here in the late night hours, Sherpa after dark.
All right, I'm gonna go with
You want me to throw these in the chat as well? Will that give you better access?
I mean, I really like twoway.com.
Really? With the number 2?
Yeah, I've done well with these. I mean, these types of things. I like that name, twoway.com. I think it's really cool.
Good use.
I like Lush. Lush.net, but Lush is a pretty big brand established, Lush.com. So I don't, but still a nice name. Probably homeinsulation.com is the most commercial name here. I mean, that's a lead gen business in a box. So that's probably my favorite name on here.
Okay. And then any that
I probably want to own that for like 10 grand.
Okay.
Or less.
Anything that you don't like that you wouldn't really be too interested in?
Someones.com. I mean, I wouldn't, if that was my business name and email address, I'd vomit in my mouth every time I had to tell somebody that.
Yeah, that one's that's one of those not all, I don't even know if you call that a oneword.com. It's got like it also shows you the Esteban appraisal. I mean, I don't see that as an $11,000 domain name. And I don't know that anybody's out there, calling a brand someone's, so, yeah. All right. So is that it?
That's it.
Boom.
That's
Josh.
I like energystore.com a lot. For multiple reasons. Like store in terms of, buying and selling, but I also like it for storage.
Storage, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's like a battery brand. I mean, there's a couple of things that could be around, an energy. Well, it's interesting because Drew, you talk about
energy, like whether it like energy store, whether it be like human energy or just energy from like an electricity standpoint,
battery.
or there are so many ways that domain could be used. That is probably my favorite one on the list. I like bossa.com. I feel like that's a good brand.
Yeah, that's a good little brand. Yeah.
what do you like that one for?
Probably 5K, just off the top of my head, something like that.
Drew, you agree?
Bossa, yeah, something like that. Probably you'll probably go for more than that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at the stats, it probably like Drew says, it'll probably go for quite a bit more than that. But I don't know. When you start getting into like the 10K range, then for me, the question is, okay, maybe spend a little bit more and then get an even better brand. Just kind of, I'm not sure what the cutoff is there, but those two are my favorite. I'm not a fan of Lush.net. I feel like .net has just lost its place in the universe. I'll be honest. It's one of those extensions that's just there's no reason
I agree
for it anymore.
for the most part. Yeah.
It's kind of sad, especially if you've been in the game for a long time. But I just feel like it's lost its place. And the rest of them is kind of like meh. I want to like Calcium, but .org, but it just doesn't quite fit .org. I'm a big fan of .org domains as well. I love them. I feel like when you look at .org versus .net, I was just having this conversation with someone the other day. .org has a very strong place in the world of digital, in the internet world. Kind of fit right. It found its place among all these other extensions, right? It found its place.
Yeah, it's got a clear brand. There's an inherent brand there.
Yeah. So yeah, Barkeep and barkeeper.com. Nah.
So that was the one, and then so that's a great segue.
Like there's value there. You're probably gonna have to overpay to get it, and then there's just better opportunities.
Yeah, well, those are the ones that I said. So you've got Barkeep and Barkeeper, and there's actually a company out there. There's Barkeep app, which is a best way to keep track of your liquor, right? So I don't know how many people are out there but between the two names, do you think Barkeeper versus Barkeep, what's the better name between the two for a
Probably
brand?
Barkeeper. Probably Barkeeper.
Yeah, and that has the higher estimate for what it's worth.
Nah, I guess so. Maybe that's a tough one for me to call.
Well, yeah, I kind of like the shorter version, and I feel like it's a sharper brand. Barkeep.
Yeah, it's sharper brand. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know which one I'd say is a higher value domain. I think that's going to be more subjective based on end users, but like just objectively, I like Barkeep better.
Okay. I kind of lean that way as well, which is why I thought it was interesting that Barkeep has more back orders. Barkeeper has a much higher appraisal value by about 20x. They both end at the same time. So I thought that was all kind of like sort of an interesting little dynamic and wanted to raise it here. So that's great. Thanks for talking about it. All right, we got one more thing to do, and then we're going to basically jump. It's getting late here, but so Brian Ficaro, who's a domainer, a friend of ours that we bumped into at some conferences and things, got some names listed on NameJet. Just to be perfectly clear, we've got, we're not, there's no financial incentive for us to talk about these, but he's got a list of names that are up there that are pretty good. So I shared them with the team. So if you guys want to talk about maybe 2 or 3 of these names, just kind of think what you think by way of like they're interesting or whatever. And, it's one of those things like somebody asks a little bit of help for us to not exactly promoting them. We'll talk about them. I mean, so that'll be good or bad. But ultimately it's like you ask and you shall receive, because that's what we do for the audience and our people out there and the Sherpa domain Sherpa universe. So I have the list of names. I put them up in the chat. I think these all have reserves on them. Supposedly not too crazy is my understanding. So, but we don't want to. I don't know what we can really. We have share there because I don't know what's publicly on the site or not for NameJet. But anyway, so what y'all think? Why don't you guys talk about a name or two, and then let's discuss it for a little bit, and then we're gonna call it.
I'll say what I said to you when I initially looked at them, just to preface before I say which names I like. They all like give me the same vibe in that they're all good domains, but they're and like people will say, oh, that's a great brand, and like even for me as a someone who spends time in the branding world and like naming and like focuses on these kind of things, I have a pretty good idea of what's a good brand and what's not. But, and this
Still
is the
says you.
right? Yeah,
Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed. But I feel that these type of names struggle in some ways, and they're the type of names that you can get for a decent price because there's not that much usage out there. And in a way, that's why they're, I look at them and I'm like, oh, that's a great brand. And I think they are great brands. And I think that if someone was to buy them, they would be getting a good deal. But they struggle to sell. Like they have a low sell-through rate at the price that I typically would want for a name like, I don't know, bananasplit.com or,
Yeah, well, and that's a good segue because I think and it is kind of like what we talked about. You end up in a situation sometimes where it's kind of like, for a brand that nobody is actually out there utilizing yet, right? So then you're waiting for a company to be created or for a brand to sort of come into being that does not yet exist, right? So it maybe limits some of the upside. So all right, well,
Yeah.
but what about a name
like
like Banana Split? Like, what do you think is the value on a name like that?
Yeah, so I'm not so sure about like Banana Split in terms of like what the value is on it. I haven't checked to see if there's any usage or anything like that. But like Banana Split for me is like a 5K name. And then, but like a name like Juanita.com, for example, there may be end users out for a name like Juanita. It looks like for me like you could see that being a clothing brand or something, along those lines. And I kind of get the same feeling about value on that. And like, this is just complete. So for me, when I'm buying, I'm always looking at data, right? I'd have to look at data points on a lot of these names to get an idea of whether they're, 5 to 10K names or 15 to 25K names. But yeah, like Banana Split, Juanita, like just hits me as like in that 5K area. Juanita maybe a little bit more. But
I think that as much as Banana Split's kind of like a known term, and you think about what that could be, utilized for, right? It's a fun kind of domain name, right? And
yeah,
it's definitely a positive, has some positive vibe to it. Juanita to me is a much more broad appeal type of, domain, a lot more branding up.
Stronger brand. But like names like unfazed.com, like cool brand. Like I like that. I don't think there's probably not that much usage. But again, like unfazed is probably like the type of name you're trying to pay like 4 to 7 for or something like that.
Yeah. I think all that, and to me, I think that absolutely makes sense. Drew, what about you? What do you think?
So there's 3 names I like. I like Banana Split. I think that's probably the most likely brand, in there that would get some uptake. I like Baked Potato. It's a fun name. I don't know what you're gonna do with it, but it's a fun name. I don't think it's got much legs, but it's a fun name. Probably the one with the highest sale, price potential, not necessarily the highest sell through rate, but the highest price potential, in my opinion, is probably Strong Body. Just because it's a large commercial vector with lots of potential end users. Strong body, strong mind. It has a lot of let's say uptake or sort of adoption of the phrase, and and it says what it is. So I
Kind
think
of like
strong body.
it reminds me of like Live Strong, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Totally. So I think strong body is like, $25,000 to $50,000 domain, but it's not liquid for that. It's liquid for 10% of that. But I think, it is if you're buying that for 2,500 to $5,000, it's a great name. It's a great name. Yeah. Banana split, baked potato, strong body. Fun shop is good too. But it's like I don't know if the upside is just like, whether it's worth the squeeze, but like, if you get Fun Shop for the right price, $1,000, it's a good domain, great domain. A couple $1,000 maybe. I want to like Roulette Wheel, but it's just so long.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think like Roulette Wheel is less interesting to me.
I want to love Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun. It's like the most famous Egyptian Pharaoh, but it's long. I mean, I couldn't spell that. Never mind, the next person.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, obviously, I think that's what challenge you run into with some of these names, that if the length sort of exceeds the sort of the entry, the addressable market or whatever it is that you're going to use it for, right? And then it's the longer the not necessarily better. But I think the ones you mentioned were the ones that jumped out to me. I mean, Fun Shop I think is definitely a cool name. Strong Body I thought was a sleeper on here, because when you think about like health, wellness, fitness, all that kind of stuff.
It's just such a big category. Strong body is healthy body, healthy mind, right? It's just strong body is a very strong. It's a good name. That's a good name. That's I think that's got the highest upside in the list.
And I like Juanita a lot. I didn't know how many spellings and stuff.
I do. I just don't know. No, Juanita. I mean, there's only one way to write Juanita. I like it. I just don't know how much adoption it is, or if there's an end user that's going to buy that. It's a little too cute, but it's it's a fun name.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing. A lot of these are, like you said, they look kind of good. It's just then when you dig beneath the surface, you're trying to figure out like, okay, can I buy a name like this for 5+ and then turn it into 50K plus, right? And there's some potential there, but not easy, but there's definitely value here. It's just a question of how much. So, all right, cool. Well, there's a handful of names. We'll put the list on the site. Were you going to say something, Drew, or you were doing something else?
Nah, never mind.
All right. Anyway, we'll put the list on the site. Definitely check them out if anybody's interested. It's definitely at least worth taking a look and then doing your research and figuring out what's good, and then going from there. So all good stuff. All right, well, that's NameJetGonnaJet with a little extra jet for y'all. Big shout out to our friends at NameJet. All right, guys, so we're into what we call GrandClosing, where we cover anything we haven't already talked about. Josh and I caught up today for a bit on the whole pickleball thing. You were missed out there in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have run through the competition there, I think, pretty easily. Next time. Well, except that you agreed that you're going to help me learn. You're going to get me, like, we're going to do some Rocky kind of stuff around
coming over for a few beers and a little pickle. Sure.
Little pickle. Let's get it. And then I had another question. What do you think about the whole thing, though? The timed game, score game thing. I don't know if you were paying attention when we talked about how we kind of got robbed.
Oh yeah, I heard that. It sounds like bullshit.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Right from the pro. So Paul and Alan, there you go. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna play Josh?
Hey, I'm just seeing a tweet that I want to talk about real quick.
All right.
From who?
Hold on.
Yeah, where's this about to go? Right. This.
Right.
I thought we were about to shut the show
checking
down.
My tweets, like checking my tweets. What did I say?
No, real quick. So Michael Seiger posted, I think we need to define a new term, Neoregistrar. I actually really like what he's saying here. And I like the analogy that he made, which is you have these neo banks like Mercury, like TransferWise, like Relay, and they don't actually have a bank license, right? They're not actually the ones that are responsible for taking custody. They're just basically a service provider. that overlays a layer of convenience on top of the bulky, heavy infrastructure that's, with the heavy regulatory burden and all the licensing and blah, 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 right? So it's very difficult to start a new bank, but it's very easy to start a new neobank. If you think about all the stuff we wanted to do with Pegasus, right? It really, in the end, the heavy lifting consisted of trying to build the infrastructure underneath, but an even better, more efficient version and probably more functional would be if you could create that Neoregistrar that doesn't actually have an ICANN accreditation, but is interoperable with registrars that do. And if you can control, sort of like Afternic Fast Transfer, the ability to instantaneously move a name from one account to another, or you're holding it basically as a proxy on behalf of your customers at these various registrars, which is likely the correct way to go about this. Is basically you become basically like a proxy service. So you've got these sort of escrow or proxy accounts at all the various registrars in the same way that escrow.com does, right? And then you're holding these names on behalf of your clients. They're assigned a number. You've got an internal database, basically like an L2 blockchain. And you allow people to sort of transfer instantaneously like OpenSea does with an NFT. And you're just basically moving it. All that's actually happening with the name, as far as I can concerned, it's never actually moving. You're just basically moving it on an internal database. And now to make it even more secure, that internal database should be public and on a blockchain. I really like that idea. I think that is probably where we're going. I think Michael Seiger, in this very short tweet here, explained what I've had in my mind, and I've been trying to explain to others for 2 or 3 years now, about what is the future of registrars. And I think he did it. I think that's it. I think it's this Neoregistrar. I like that concept. Hat tip to Michael Seiger for coining the term. I think he coined it. I don't know. But I like that term of Neoregistrar, and I think that that's exactly right. The analogy of like a Mercury or a TransferWise or a Relay or any of these sort of neobanks, N24 or whatever, N26. I think that's right. I think that's where we're going. And I think that is going to open up a massive new channel of liquidity and efficiency to the domain name market. Buckle your seatbelts. I really do believe. I think we more and more, I've been on this kick of like, man, I'm really tripping and asking everybody, where do you think domains are 5-10 years out? How is AI going to influence the way we use domains and interact with the web and da-da-da? And I was, skeptical and a little bit concerned. But I'll tell you what, I think that we are in the early innings, and I think domains are going to pop off in a way. I think domain names, I tweeted about this yesterday, but I think domain names in Bitcoin, if you own premium domain names in Bitcoin, I think that you are prepared for the future. I think that is the way to carry wealth, build wealth, and protect wealth from this point forward, going forward the next decade. I think those are going to be the two most exciting assets, the most valuable and demanded assets.
Yeah, well, and hey, look,
in the digital future that we are embarking on.
Well, and they've done pretty well, in recent times as well. So if you look over these past,
if history is any indication,
5-10 years, you know what I'm saying?
If history is any indication, and we have an accelerating growth curve in this field, in these fields, and we sort of have a dovetailing of domain names in Bitcoin, which we do, with the ability to now port a Web2 domain name over to, basically be a wallet or a Web3 identity. I think we've got a pretty exciting future. And I think what Michael Seiger is talking about here is the way that we basically bring these two things together to the masses, to the retail audience. So anyways, just a little comment I want to make because I saw this tweet.
That's Michael great.
Seiger.
I love that. And big shout out to Seiger.
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
Hey, well, he's certainly not learning any new tricks on the pickleball court, as he didn't end up in the final 3 of the, of the Vegas
fight.
I
And
mean,
you
no,
getting
Mike
into
knows
it.
I got mad love for him. He knows what it is. In fact, when we do our little like domainer kind of pickleball battle, Mike is definitely invited. He's the real deal. And he also is basically the guardian of Court One in Bainbridge Island. So it's all good.
Man.
So mad
Sore
love, Mike.
losers talking shit. Sore losers out here talking shit.
What are you talking about? How am I? What are you talking? I gave him a compliment, I think. Didn't I give him a compliment?
I know. I hear you.
I think maybe it was an insult, like surrounded by compliment.
Yeah, I
You know
think
what
it started. Yeah, I think it was. I think that's pretty much what it was.
I'm saying? Hey man, come on now. And we're not sore losers. There's others out there that are much bigger sore losers much more sore losers than we are. And I'm not still bitter. Yes, did I bring up that pickleball game where we got robbed? Did I bring it up? Yeah, maybe, but only because Josh is here and he's the pickleball pro. You know what I mean? It's like if Michael Jordan's here, you
Yeah.
might ask him
You
what
know,
he
in
thinks of
many
the jump shot.
ways, just thinking about this, in many ways, I think I don't know what's proprietary. I think I think this is public, but I think like basically what Unstoppable Domains is building, I think will ultimately look something like this Neoregistrar concept. I think what D3, that I'm an investor in, D3.inc. I think what they're building is going to look something like, or part of what they're building will look something like this.
Yeah, and he mentions
I think
Box.
there's some. Yeah, I don't know who Box is. I don't know anything about them.
People have been posting about it on Twitter a little bit, but I haven't done the research to know. But I don't know if it's .box domains, and they're also ICANN accredited through this relationship.
Oh, yeah, that's the bot. Yeah. No. Forget that. I don't know. I don't know who they are. I don't know what it is. To me, that's just when we bought Wagos, right? Yeah, when we bought Wagos, we also bought the TLD from Frank, and it was like, we got
NFT.
the Web3. Yeah, we own Wagos NFT, and it was like, hey, what am I supposed to do with that? You know what I'm saying? Somebody can go build Wagos NFT on a different chain, right?
Well,
I got it on Ethereum.
I thought that
somebody else can build it on Ethereum too.
What created the heartburn?
The whole thing is a fugazi. It's a fugazi. Listen, here's the deal. This is the conclusion I've come to. Okay, and I know we're trying to wrap this up, but I really am getting tired with all these people on. Look, I was one of the first adopters. I was shouting from the rooftops. You know what? Don't sleep on this Web3 domain thing. This could be something. I love the idea of decentralized domains. But as I spent hundreds, thousands of hours thinking through this, extrapolating out what it means, what are the barriers to adoption, I came to the conclusion with as close to certainty as you can, there's no there. Web3 domain names are useful for very limited purposes, extremely limited. And so I think Ish Millie actually was had a good take yesterday. He said, basically you want to buy .eth domains, like the only things that really make sense are like short brandables or first names, right? Because it's going to be a wallet address. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. And it might be a good wallet address for ETH, and but that I don't know what you're kind of just.
Well, you said, I mean, literally, that's almost word for word what you said.
So the point is all your .coms, your .nets, your .orgs, these are going to be your wallets. We're gonna just amplify the utility of the existing domain name infrastructure, the DNS. I would encourage everybody to go listen to the Balaji Srinivasan. Balaji interviews Chris Dixon from A16Z. Chris Dixon just published a new book, Read, Write, Own, talking about sort of the third phase of the internet. Web 1 was read, Web 2 was read and write, and Web 3 is read, write, and own. I don't embrace Chris Dixon's full view of the internet. He is a shitcoiner. I think that he's an incredibly intelligent guy, and he understands infrastructure of the internet. He's been there since the beginning. He's understood all the protocols. Phenomenal interview. I would tell you it's one of the best interviews to promote the value of a domain name ever. This just got published in the last few days. I would encourage everybody in the domain industry to go listen to it. They talk about how important domain names are. Domain names are what represents ownership on the internet, okay? And legacy DNS domain names are going to be all of this stuff that the people are thought about what Web3 was going to be, except they will never be fully immutable. You're never going to be fully decentralized. It's just not possible because of a variety of legal concerns and other stuff. But I love this idea of a Neoregistrar, and I don't agree that box domains and that. But what are you getting with? Fugazi, in my opinion. Okay, not financial advice. I hope everybody makes money with their Fugazi, but that's a Fugazi.
The violent Buddha has spoken. Hey, another shout out though
Look, I've had wins and losses throughout my career. Okay, what I've learned as a first principle is that the more you focus, the more success you're going to have. Okay, and you can simplify your life and increase the probability of your success tremendously by focusing on the cream. The cream in the domain name space is a premium.com, short or one word or descriptive 2-word. Okay, that's it. If you invest in those, your probability of success is going to be higher. If you invest in Bitcoin instead of shitcoin, your probability of success is going to be higher. Your probability of flying too close to the sun and getting burned and eviscerated is lower. Keep it simple, okay? You will not go wrong unless you do something stupid by buying .com domain names and Bitcoin. These are the cream of their asset classes, okay?
Yep.
So,
and hey,
anyways, I don't know what .box is. I hope all y'all buying .box. I wish y'all the best. Okay, I don't. The only other extension. I mean, I like the .org, but the only other extension that's even worthy of even having a discussion about is the .ai. And I don't. We all know how I feel about that. So,
all right. Well, hey. So a couple of quick things. Great. Appreciate everything you just said. A lot of words. Very good. No, but for real, you're actually echoing what Josh said earlier, right? Which was Josh was talking about, hey, the more you're spending on domains, you're effectively buying better domains, which is actually limiting, some of your downside risk because you're buying higher quality stuff, right? And that was the point that I took him to make earlier. Maybe I'm, butchering it some, but I think that it's not obviously like a guaranteed formula, but I do think the idea of buying better quality stuff that has more, applications, more use, bigger addressable market, all those kinds of things, more traffic. I mean, they're more valuable, period. Right. So, then we can get into the dollars and cents and see what your capital, how capital intensive it is, what kind of impact that has on your personal finances and things when you're investing. But if you can buy the good stuff, buy the good stuff. Right. Another quick book shout out really quick is the Everything Token. Steve Kaczynski, Scott Duke, Comeners. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but those guys, I've kind of seen them in and around Web3 Twitter, since NFTs really kicked off. And I think from what I've seen, I follow Steve on Twitter. I don't know him. I don't know that I've ever even met him. Maybe we kind of crossed paths at a conference or something. But yeah, that book I think does a nice job from what I've seen based on what people are saying about it. I have not read it. But you mentioned the Chris Dixon book, and I think the Everything Token also looks pretty interesting as to explaining, kind of how NFTs and Web3 work, and it even says how NFTs and Web3 will transform the way we buy, sell, and create. Get your learn on a little bit. I think there's probably some interesting stuff in there from somebody who's been in the space since it kind of took off a few years ago. So, yeah, since we're just trying to have everybody get their learn on, just letting you know what we're seeing out there in the world that might be helpful in your journey to get enlightened, like the violent Buddha himself. And also not an ad or anything, we're just talking what we talk about. So all right, cool. Josh, anything else on your end? I know, man, you got to go get some sleep. You got crying babies and all sorts of stuff going on at your house, but otherwise you good? Everything cool?
Well, good, guys. Well, good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, thank you so much, man.
All right,
Drew, as always.
Shout out to Tommy the Tank.
Tommy the Tank Engine, dog.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
it. We covered a lot of ground, man. I didn't think this was gonna be that long. I told Josh, I'm like, don't worry, it's only gonna be an hour.
The last 20 minutes of this show is probably the best.
Yeah, there's great stuff in here, man. There's gems. All right, but we got to go. We'll pick up where we left off on the next show. If anybody has any thoughts, I'm sure people are going to feel pretty strongly about some of the things that were said, talked about, opinions that were made. Again, none of this is financial advice, but if you want to hit us up to the audience, I say it on every show. Thank you so much. Without you, there is no us. We are not hard to find. Hit us on Twitter. Hit us on, on the blog, like wherever we are at. Let us know what you think. You want to clarify some things. You want to talk your own. You want to pump your bags. You want to vent. You good, bad, ugly. Let us know. We're here for y'all. And if anything we said was super offensive and you don't like it, just reach out and get a refund on what you paid for this show to listen to it, and we'll get that right out to y'all. In the meantime, though, everybody have a good one. Do your thing, and we'll see y'all next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out, y'all.